This is Mega Raichu Y. Wait, what? Pokemon Champions just launched, and Raichu Knight Y isn't in the game? Well, what about the team I built around it? Oh, well, this is awkward. Okay, new plan. What Megas are available? Mega Kangaskhan? Mega Charizard? Mega Gengar? No, we're not touching those yet. Alright, start the intro again. This is Mega STARMIE, one of the fastest special attackers in the world. And today, I'm going to attempt to turn Mega STARMIE into one of the strongest physical attackers in the world. And there's a question you might have. Why would you take a strong special attacker and try to turn it physical? To answer that, you have to understand what was going through my head when I built this team. It's 9 PM, and 2 days earlier I read that Pokemon Champions was releasing 1 AM my time zone. So I'm getting ready for bed, my alarms are set for 12:45 AM, I'm feeling organized, and right before I shut down my PC, I check for any updates on Pokemon Champions, and to my dismay, I find out that it launched 5 hours ago. What have I been doing this whole time? I immediately scrambled to download the game. I create my character and I rush through the tutorials, skipping every cutscene known to man because I'm already 5 hours behind, and in my mind, every second counts. And as I'm going to the shop to purchase my Raichu Knight Y, it's not there, and my stomach drops. I literally spent the last week preparing this team, and I did not prepare a backup plan. Stress kicks in and my heart starts racing. I see the world I built crumble, and for just a second, it feels over. But I don't have time to sulk, so instead, I pivot. I start scrolling through the available Mega Stones, checking the new abilities from the Legends EA releases, trying to find anything remotely usable. My first thought is Mega Crabominable, as the leak said it would have Contrary, but it didn't have Contrary. It had Iron Fist, so that idea dies instantly. At this point, I'm scrambling. I'm just scanning for anything that can work, and then I see STARMIE. I've always liked STARMIE. During my playthroughs of Pokemon Fire Red, my STARMIE would absolutely decimate foes. But what caught my eye was not Mega STARMIE's absurd shape, it was the ability. Mega STARMIE gets huge power, an ability that doubles the power of a Pokemon's attack stat, and that's when it clicks. While my opponents are playing Mega Charizard, Gengar, and Venusaur, I'll counter them with a physical STARMIE. Aqua Jet for priority, Protect for safety, Liquidation, and Psycho Cut for some serious stab damage. And all of a sudden my panic has started to turn into planning. So I start transferring Pokemon from Scarlet. The first Pokemon is Serena, a strong physical attacker with the Queenly Majesty ability, blocking priority attacks from coming into our side of the field. I plan to run Triple Axle and Power Whip, 2 powerful moves with low accuracy, and then compensate for that with a Wide Lens, an item that boosts accuracy. Except Pokemon Champions doesn't have Wide Lens, so immediately we hit another wall. I'm scrolling through items trying to salvage something, and finally I settle on Bright Powder. If I can't make myself more accurate, maybe I'll just try and make my opponent's Pokemon less accurate. Next Pokemon on the team was Incineroar. It almost feels illegal bringing Incineroar into a brand new format, but Intimidate to cut down my opponent's offensive pressure, and Fake Out to allow my STARMIE to get going is just too valuable to ignore. Normally I would run Knockoff as a powerful stab type move, but Pokemon Champions doesn't let Incineroar have Knockoff, so instead I go for Thief. I'm running Citrus Berry, but once it gets consumed, Thief will allow me to steal an opponent's item, so if Incineroar is going to be everywhere, I'm going to need an answer to it. And for that reason I decide to add Milotic to the team. The ability Competitive means that I get a +2 special attack boost anytime my opponent lowers Milotic's stats. I built it fully defensively around this, and the plan was to use Assault Vest, but you guessed it, Pokemon Champions doesn't have Assault Vest. At this point, I'm just expecting disappointment every time I open the shop menu, so Milotic gets leftovers instead, and I pray that Rotom or Manectric don't delete it instantly. The team is starting to come together, but defensively it's still pretty soft, so I add Corviknight as a wall. Roost allows it to survive, while Heavy Slam and Brave Bird apply a little bit of pressure. And then I think, what happens if we run into Trick Room, or an even faster team using Alakazam or Gengar? And that's where Whimsicott comes in. Tailwind gives us speed control, Taunt allows us to stop setup, and Encore locks them into bad moves. Now, this explanation took a while, but in my head, this entire spiral, the panic, the pivot, the rebuilding, it all happened in under 5 minutes. The second I saw huge power, I knew that was the angle. But because it all happened in under 5 minutes, the real question is, can it actually survive the ranked ladder. We queue into our first ranked match, and I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what to expect. They lead Glamora and Tyranitar. We've got Whimsicott and Starmie on the field. And this is basically the first real test of whether this whole physical Mega Starmie thing is genius or a complete disaster. Turn 1 we both Mega Evolve. They go Mega Glamora and I go Mega Starmie. Whimsicott sets Tailwind, so we guarantee speed control, and I click Liquidation into the Glamora. And we pick up the KO. Tyranitar goes for Fire Punch into Whimsicott, but it doesn't really matter. The important part is Starmie just claimed a Mega on turn 1. They bring in the mouse hold, and now I'm thinking, okay, don't throw this one away. So I switch Whimsicott into Serena to block priority. I click Liquidation again, this time into Tyranitar, and that drops too. Mouse hold tries to Encore into the Serena slot, but it hits the switch and does absolutely nothing. They bring in Gengar, and at this point I'm really starting to feel it. Psycho Cut into Gengar, another one-hit KO. Serena power whips the mouse hold, it lives on 1. And then Sandstorm finishes it off. Game 1, we absolutely decimate our opponent, and suddenly all the panic from building the team kind of fades for a second, because it's like, well wait, this might actually be insane. And then we queued into Rain, Archelodon and Pelipper. Immediately I know this is not good. I'm realizing in the team select screen that we have zero answer for Archelodon, and the hype I'm feeling from game 1 instantly fades away. I taunt the Pelipper turn 1 to stop Tailwind, and Milotic protects. Archelodon goes for an Electro Shot into the Protect. It does no damage, but it still gets the special attack boost. And this is where I start to feel a little uneasy. The next turn, I triple axle into Archelodon and do absolutely nothing. And that's when it hits me that I just gave it a +3 defense boost because of stamina. I completely forgot about its ability. Archelodon deletes Milotic with Electro Shot. Pelipper lands Hurricane and Serena drops 2. 2 turns. The game just spirals instantly. We bring in Starmie and Corviknight, but Archelodon keeps boosting, firing off Electro Shots, and Corviknight drops. And to be honest, at that point I just forfeited because I couldn't see an angle back in. So now it's back to the builder. Corviknight clearly isn't solving the problem, so I bring in Manectric and give it Choice Scarf plus Switcheroo. The entire plan now is just, if Archelodon wants to sit there and spam Electro Shot, I'll lock it into it and make it useless. So I queue back up, and this time it's into Sand, Excadrill and Tyranitar. I led Serena and Starmie, but I immediately pivot Starmie into Incineroar because Intimidate into Excadrill is just massive. Excadrill rock slides, it misses Serena and barely touches Incineroar because of the Intimidate drop, and then Serena power whips Tyranitar off the field. They bring in Volcarona, and this game turns into absolute chaos. There's fake out pressure, Rage Powder redirects, taunts going off, rock slides flying everywhere, and at one point Excadrill crits Incineroar. There are flinches happening, earthquakes, heat wave. The board state is constantly shifting. Rotom Wash hits the field and Serena deletes it with Power Whip. Volcarona sets Tailwind, and I'm switching back and forth, trying to maintain positioning while also getting Intimidate drops. Incineroar steals Volcarona's leftovers with a Thief at one point just to move some sustain. I realize if I can get rid of Volcarona, I can handle the Excadrill on its own. Eventually my Incineroar drops to a Heat Wave. Milotic lands the Scald to knock out Volcarona. This was a trade I was willing to make, and it comes down to just Excadrill. I bring in Starmie, Mega Evolve, Liquidation, and Excadrill goes down, and we win the match. At this point I'm thinking, okay, maybe the Rain matchup was just like bad variance, and then we queue into Rain again. Scizor and Archelodon this time. We lead Milotic and Serena, and immediately I pivot Serena into Manectric because this is the matchup we built it for. Scizor switches into Politoed, while Archelodon goes for Electro Shot and Manectric absorbs it and gets the boost. That feels amazing. Next turn Politoed goes for a Helping Hand, but I click Switcheroo and give Archelodon the Choice Scarf. That's the entire tech, working exactly how it was designed to. But even locked, it still KOs Manectric with Dragon Pulse. During this time Milotic has been firing Ice Beams into Archelodon, dealing negligible damage. Serena comes back in. I miss a Power Whip into Politoed at a crucial moment. Icy Wind drops our speed, but gives Milotic the competitive boost. It's just constant pressure. Next turn, my head was so scrambled that I forgot about the Helping Hand angle, and I failed to protect my Milotic, and in the end it drops to a Dragon Pulse. Politoed drops to Power Whip, and I can't help but think if only we had this the turn prior. Scizor comes back in, and now it's time for Starmie again. We both Mega Evolve. Mega STARMIE, and Mega Scizor. I use Liquidation into Scizor and it lives on about 10%, and Archaludon KOs Serena. Scizor Swords Dances. Everything relies on STARMIE. Aqua Jet to finish the Scizor. Archaludon uses Dragon Pulse into STARMIE and it actually lives on 13 HP. But with 13 HP and 2 Pokemon remaining, the game's all but over. Gallade comes in, Psycho Cut knocks it out, but it's too late. Archaludon picks up the free kill into STARMIE and we lose. But this time it was close. Looking back at this team, there are some pretty glaring weaknesses. Bringing 2 grass and 2 water types into a brand new format really ruins your flexibility. And if I'm being honest, that one's on me. That's what happens when you build a plan in panic at 9 PM at night after realizing the entire plan you've been working on for an entire week has gone down the drain. My head wasn't calm, it was scrambling. And the team kind of reflects that. That being said, Mega STARMIE is a monster. For what it's worth, it genuinely impressed me. And there are so many directions you can take it. It deletes Tyranitar, pressures Charizard, handles Excadrill, destroys Gengar. And when it gets going, it really gets going. But today wasn't about those matchups. Today, we ran headfirst into the rain. And against those bulky Archaludon comps that are everywhere right now, there were games where it honestly felt like STARMIE was punching a wall. And that's frustrating because I can see the potential. Maybe it just doesn't work in the way I built it, but I think you could definitely build a team that supports it. So next time, we're not hoping to survive the rain. We're building a team specifically to destroy it. No scrambling or panic pivots, just a focused answer to the meta that shut us down. And trust me, I am not letting Archaludon get the last word. If you want to see that team come together and see if we can finally flip this matchup, consider subscribing so you don't miss it. And thanks for watching.